Okay, this morning we have a video on the importance of proper finishing with grass-fed beef. We're in northern Wisconsin. We've had an exceptional season this year in terms of rain and good growing conditions. So it kind of is not fair because everything has been perfect. And what that means is grass-fed beef, the problem with consumers is the finish is so inconsistent. One of the things that happens in that area is something can be 100% grass-fed and end its life eating hay, which is going to reduce marbling. You want them to be eating fresh vegetative grass and forage as much as they can right before they go in. These guys here, 4 of them are going to the butcher in 3 weeks. 4 of them will stay for another season, and 4 more will join them in December, January. So as you can see, what I'm sending them through right now is like next to perfect in terms of forage quality. This is the second time that they've been through here this summer, and right now it is September 18th, I think. When our forage is as good as it is, like right now, I actually will change their pasture 2 to 3 times a day instead of just twice, because I want to give them a smaller chunk so they're doing more eating than trampling, and that's really how you get the good finish. Another problem with finishing with grass-fed is what's coming in from out of the country, because when they repealed the country of origin labeling, any beef coming in, and it comes in either as live animals or as hanging carcasses or packaged, if you even change the packaging, you can call it made in America and say whatever you want to say about it and really not know anything about where it came from. People who raise grass-fed beef know that there's a difference in quality that you can see. I do a lot of catering with our beef, and I've had to use at times other grass-fed beef, and I can look at beef and just know the quality. I can see the quality. You know what I'm talking about in terms of color and marbling. I will put our grass-finished beef frozen against any fresh non-frozen grass-fed beef out there. Another thing is, I know the quality of our beef is so high that I would never put these guys into just the market pipeline for grass-fed beef, because the people buying them wouldn't have any idea of how high the quality is in these animals here. So I do all retail from the farm, and I get a good price. So yeah, you want to finish them on vegetative grass. Your product is going to be fabulous. I just lucked out this year, and maybe not entirely lucked out, because we've been doing this for a while and our pastures are improving markedly. So we've built in a lot of resilience and fertility, and people just can't wait to get the notice that it's ready, and they're just lining up to get our beef. While we're out here, let me show you a couple things that you're gonna like. We also do silvopasture out here, and you can see right along this fence line that we've got oak trees planted in here, and I use these fiberglass posts so I can move the fence back and forth to protect the trees from when they're coming through. So when they switch over to this paddock, I'll just move the fence before they come in. And you know, I'm not going to see it, but in a number of years there's going to be a line of oak trees along here and along here that's going to provide shade, and depending on who's managing it by then, maybe acorns for pigs. We also have swales. You can see the swales up here for rain capturing and redistribution. Along these swales here we have hazelnuts and oaks and crab apples for pollination. It's all pretty sweet. Over here we also have chickens out here. The meat chickens are all in the freezer. We did 300 of them this year, and they're in pens and move through this pasture here after the steers go through and mow it down for them a little bit. These are the laying hens, and they live out here, and we move them around in our portable chicken house. Depending on, you know, what's going on, they move quite a bit. Here you can see we just got our hay in. This is part of it. This is a swale that actually comes in through there's a culvert that goes under the road that drains about 30 acres into a ditch, and we put in this swale, again with hazelnuts all along here, that captures that and dumps all of that runoff into our system down here. So we actually are capturing a lot of water, and we don't have to worry about any chemicals or anything, because it's not happening across the road. Here's another swale, and you can see that goes off to the right there and to the left, and then down below there is another swale, and we have all kinds of woody perennials, fruit and nut trees and shrubs planted along these swales. And one more thing I want to show you. Not only is it time to finish these guys, it's time to think about feeding them for the winter with this hay here, and by stockpiling forage in paddocks to feed them as long as I can on grass and not hay. And what you're seeing here is a paddock. I just did this for the first time this year, and it looks like it's working pretty well. I drilled in like mid-August sorghum Sudan grass, and it's coming up like crazy. So this paddock here is definitely going to be for winter grazing. Sorghum Sudan grass, you have to be a little careful. If it's got prussic acid in it that has cyanide in it, and so before you don't want to feed this to them fresh. You need it to freeze out and then wait a week, and then you can let them in. And this stuff, you know, depending on where you are, it's great, and it'll grow to be 12 feet high. I'm kind of excited to see what happens in here. So this is definitely a paddock for winter grazing. And then we also do bale grazing, and have noticed that the fertility in the paddocks increases dramatically where we've bale grazed. This ridge here, this hilltop, this whatever it is one of the least fertile areas in our system out here, which is the pasture is about 10 acres. And so we're going to be distributing the bales across here for the winter time, and then we actually can use our poly wire that we use for rotation to keep them out of the bales and let them in one at a time. It's actually a pretty nice system. So this is again one of those moments where I just can't believe I get to do this work and be out here. This is my office. I love coming to work every day, and the people who like buy our beef and buy our chickens and buy our eggs are getting the highest quality food that they can get. And this is actually the easiest work that we do. We also have about a 2-acre organic garden. We work like crazy out there during the summertime, and are really glad when the whole thing is finally put to bed. But dealing with these animals, moving them around, it's a lovely experience. It keeps me alive. I'm 65, and just can't wait to come to work in the morning to do the stuff that we do out here. So there you go. Finish them on fresh grass, you're going to have a better product. Be careful when you're in the store shopping, and make sure you get good quality grass-fed beef if that's what you're going for. And the final answer to that question is, how can you be sure about the quality, is to know your farmer. And we've got a reputation right now, and so like I said, when our beef is done and finished and hanging, it just flies out of the locker area, and then I get to take the winter off, kind of mostly. That's it from today here in northern Wisconsin, where we're anticipating over the next 3 days anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rain, which is great because of the swales. We get to capture it, pretty much all of it. So there you go. Have a good day.